everybody. We're here for another edition of kind of up-leveling daily meals that some of our staff have. So I've got Sharon here today, our general manager, and she's got a few meals to kind of test me on and see if we can tweak a little bit to add some additional health benefits. So,
absolutely. I'm happy to be here and happy to have an opportunity to up-level my meals with you. So
yeah. Fun.
I would say for me, I'm right in the throes of menopause. And there's a lot of information out there about how much protein someone that's 51 should have. Yeah, so I think, with being in menopause and all that information that's out there, I just don't know how to level up my meals without adding more and more and more meat.
Yeah.
I do eat meat, but I wouldn't say I'm a lover of meat, and I'm definitely not a fish eater. So just looking to see where you could help me level up my protein intake and how much should I even have?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. I think so the kind of rule of thumb is a minimum of 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.
Okay.
So that's your minimum amount of protein.
So about 61 grams of protein.
Protein per day.
Okay.
And that's minimum, that's low. So so I would kind of almost double that. Aim to double that for kind of like a postmenopausal women, or really most people, especially if you're an active person, maybe aiming for 1.6. And again, aiming for that. Yeah. So you're looking at, maybe 35-ish grams of protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that might help. I mean, I'm sure there's sources out there telling you to have more.
Yeah.
I do try to keep things fairly kind of conservative. And I think, most of us, if we're operating here and the more is up here, let's just aim a little bit higher. I guess that's kind of how I think. So if we're looking at, aiming for about 35 grams of protein per meal, that helps to break it down a little bit. And then if you're having a couple snacks in a day, that brings it down even that much more per meal. So it's less overwhelming kind of per meal. Ideally, you're having your most protein, though, in the morning, starting your day. That can just be really beneficial. You might find your blood sugar is more balanced and, you're less hungry, you're feeling satiated. So it's good and it just makes it easier later in the day when maybe you're have less energy to throw that protein, make a big meal, a big dinner. So a great way to do it is kind of aiming to have, say you aim to have, 20 grams with your breakfast. Maybe you're having a protein shake kind of for your snack. Protein shakes can be a really good way to do it if you're a fan of protein shakes. So if you're looking, it makes it a little more digestible when you break it down, different meals, and then include your snacks in there as well. Can make it less daunting, but you can kind of decide how you want to break that up. I'm a big fan of adding more protein in the morning because it's out of the way. You don't have to stress so much about it. So maybe you're having your breakfast. So for example, this morning I make my breakfast lately is an egg wrap. So I do some cheese grated on it, 2 eggs on it. I've got my wrap and then a little bit of salsa on top. That's kind of just what I'm in the flow of right now.
Nice.
So for 2 eggs, you're looking at about 12 grams of protein.
Oh, that's good.
And then your cheese is going to bump that up. You might be able to bump that up to about 20 grams of protein. And then your wrap's going to have a little bit in there as well. Probably not more than 5, depending. Maybe you're getting a protein wrap. That's a nice way to kind of sneak that up as well. So if we're looking at about 20 grams of protein just for that wrap, then maybe having a protein shake later in the morning. They usually sit around 25-ish grams of protein. So then you've got 45 under your belt, kind of out of the way. And then you're looking at maybe your lunch. So maybe you are having a chicken breast with your lunch. That can be around 30 grams of protein.
Okay.
And then depend on your size of your chicken breast. And so then if you're making that into a chicken salad on 2 pieces of bread, you're going to find some protein in your bread as well. So I think sometimes what happens is we underestimate the amount of protein in the other little things we're adding to our meal as well. So even your broccoli, some of your veggies, they're helping you sneak up your protein as well. And then your snacks. So maybe you're having some nuts with an apple for a snack, or you're having your protein shake with an apple, or a little yogurt or something like that. A little container of yogurt is going to have maybe around 6 to 8 grams of protein in a Greek yogurt as well. And then maybe you're looking at your dinner. Maybe you're having a nice, hearty vegetarian chili or soup or stew or something like that. You can get that up to about 30 grams of protein. So. And it doesn't have to be complicated either, especially a vegetarian kind of chili. You're kind of just throwing everything, opening some cans, throwing everything in a crock pot, and that can be good for, a few days for you. So some ways. Does that seem helpful?
It does.
Yeah.
I think the reminder being that there's so many other bits of protein that we can add up, not just thinking I need 3 ounces of meat every meal or every snack. So that definitely helps. Yeah. Now, when you're talking about the vegetarian chili, what is it that would be the protein source in that?
Yeah, so it depends what you're putting in there. Maybe you're putting some beans or chickpeas. Those would be kind of your main sources of protein in your veggie chili. Yeah. And then of course, if you're doing like a full meat chili, if you're not interested in the vegetarian meals, it's going to be easy with your ground beef in there. But yeah, so that's your beans, legumes, that kind of thing are going to bring your protein and fiber too. Yeah.
What do you think about hemp hearts?
They're excellent. Okay. Yeah. So a big fan. I don't know off the top of my head, but they are very concentrated in protein, in your healthy fats, and in your fiber. So I think I try to not say the superfood word, but I mean, that's like pretty nutrient-packed superfood in there. So I think it's 3 tablespoons. I want to say you're getting about 10 grams of protein per 3 tablespoons. We could fact check that.
Sure.
But yeah, hemp hearts are a great way. So maybe you're sprinkling some of those on the yogurt if you're having it, a couple times a day, or maybe you're doing your yogurt bowl instead for breakfast and having some Greek yogurt with some hemp hearts, pumpkin seeds. Those are all going to add your protein as well. And then of course your fruit in there too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder, what do you think about baking with protein powder, or how would I incorporate that if I was looking for that sweet treat, but still wanted to make sure I'm getting a little bit of protein, but don't want to necessarily buy a protein bar because I want to know what the ingredients are in it. I'm more of a kind of a muffin, kind of cakey kind of girl, rather than a protein bar. So what are your thoughts on baking with protein powder?
I think that's great.
Okay.
Like, it just depends. If you've tried protein powder, it's, they're all a little bit different. They're not going to be perfect. Like, they're going to be maybe sometimes a little bit chalky. There's some better ones out there. But I think it's a great tool, like you said. So you can, because I'm a big fan, we still should enjoy our treats. I'm not a person out there saying you can't do any of that. Like, you got to have your treats, but even better if you can make them, more nutritious for you and help them use those foods to help you meet your goals as well. So a lot of them are like a 1-to-1 for like, you'd remove, say, a cup of flour, put a cup of protein powder in. Okay. Some of them are, but you kind of have to look it up per protein powder and per whatever recipe kind of that you're using. But yeah, a really great tool. And I know some people aren't really big fans of protein powder because of the processing. And I totally understand that, but it just is a really great tool to just kind of sneak up that protein when, of course, everyone is talking about it.
So if I aim for kind of that 1.6 per kilogram and think about the protein that I'm getting from all the little things, whether it's the wrap I'm using, maybe the hemp hearts that I'm adding to my meals, looking at maybe incorporating a smoothie maybe once a day, perhaps baking with it, and then really thinking about those legumes and how they add to my protein intake without having to add more meat.
Yes.
Then I'm probably going to reach the goal that I want to reach, which will ultimately help with my muscle mass and maintaining my muscle mass. Yeah. And then just that overall health is what you're saying. Helps me balance my blood sugars as well, especially in the morning.
Yeah. And help with mood, feel,
wonderful.
Which I know is huge when you're dealing with kind of menopause, perimenopause. Yeah. So, the more you can keep your blood sugar balanced, the easier it will be to balance your mood. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And if you are kind of seeing all of this information come out and wondering how you can apply it to your daily life, your unique situation, and you think like maybe a meal plan would be beneficial or a consultation, please do reach out. I'm offering consultations now, or just one-off meal plans if that's more beneficial for you as well. So definitely reach out to us. And again, any questions you have, we're here for you. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Like we said last time, if you have some meals that you're curious about, some staple meals you have through the week, and you've got protein goals you're trying to hit, or you're just curious to see what some feedback is, leave it in the comments or message us, or we're happy to kind of give feedback, or maybe we'll use it for another video. This might be the last one of these for kind of a little bit, but we'd love to hear if you've got some questions. And then tune in. I think our next video will be kind of like a surviving the holiday season video. So
awesome. We all need that.
Yeah. Yeah.